Hello. Five Star Conversations highlights leadership, shaping health, healing, leadership, and connection across the borderland. So Melissa Harcrow's story is super powerful and it actually integrates all of these points. Her commitment to strength training, nutrition, and preparing for menopause reframes aging as empowerment rather than decline. Her fitness serves as both physical conditioning and mental grounding, especially meaningful in veteran communities. She continues serving veterans and women at the civic, county, and state levels. And her instinct to reinvest financial opportunity into nonprofits serving vulnerable populations reflects a service-first ethos. I'm super excited about this conversation because what Melissa demonstrates is that community leadership is strongest when personal well-being and public service are aligned, and I'm huge on that, so I'm super excited to hear from her. Her story reinforces that caring for one's body is not vanity, it is capacity building for sustained leadership and impact. Let me say that again. Her story reinforces that caring for one's body is not vanity, it is capacity building for sustained leadership and impact. So please help me welcome Melissa Harcrow to the stage. Thank you so much.
Hi, hello. Thank you for inviting me.
I'm happy, so happy to talk to you. You're such an inspiration already. You're out there doing your fitness thing. You're in your fitness era, and all the while sharing that and inspiring all of us. You thank you for your service. Also, you are a veteran.
Yes.
And I would love to, for you to share with the audience, your experience serving for our country, and also why you decided to continue to give back in that way. Because I know a lot of people don't do that, or don't feel like they have to do that, or of course they don't have to do that. But what brings that passion in you, Melissa? And thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I'll try to be brief and not go on a tangent. So I joined out of high school. I had nothing going for me, no scholarships, no college prospects. I was not like a stellar student or anything. So an Army recruiter showed up and it sounded really good. So that's what I did. And I did not expect to make it into a career, but I did become a single mom in the military, so that's the biggest reason why I did continue enlisting.
Oh,
And
okay.
then along the way, I had a few great mentors who showed me, what leadership is, and pushed me, challenged me out of my comfort zone. And I went from enlisted to a warrant officer, and throughout my time, I did deploy 4 times. I did do one overseas tour. I
Oh,
met my
wow.
husband on a deployment, so we were dual military. Ended up getting out because we just had one person that we really, really trusted with our kids, and they just weren't able to take care of the kids anymore.
Okay.
And I made the decision to get out. And that was very
Okay.
hard for me because I was definitely a career person. That's what I wanted to do. I had goals. And it was very hard mentally, um, very challenging. So, and then trying to find a job, even harder, just seemed like I couldn't get anything. So I just took what I could. And then I wasn't really in the veteran space until about 5 years later
Oh, okay.
when we came back over here to Fort Bliss. And I found a group, Team Red, White, and Blue, and I
Okay.
joined them, became an Eagle leader. And since then, I mean, everything has just kind of come into place. I've, you join one organization, and then that's something I'll tell everyone: just know your boundaries and say no. It's
I
okay.
know that's right. Thank you. We're going to go further into that. Thank you. That's good.
Yeah.
Service does have a limit for one person. Am I right?
Yeah, yeah. And so I was doing this and that and blah, blah. I couldn't even list everything that I've done in the last 6 years. But, anyways, it really brought me into the veteran space and into women veterans issues, and it helped me reflect a lot on my service and what I've experienced both in and out. So, that's to answer your question, my military service, and then how I entered into this volunteer and veteran space.
Yes. Wow. Okay. So I heard a lot there. You have had a family. You were serving. You're in service to our country through the military, and you had your family, and you're growing your family, and then you realized that the person who was caring for your children that you really trusted the most, you made an executive decision at that point. You know what? Instead of just trying to find just anybody to take care of my kids, you said, I would rather just take that on and step into that role rather than, focus somewhere that I am passionate about and being, using my leadership skills in that way. But you took a very important decision and decided to use your leadership skills to lead your family at that point, which I think is incredibly commendable. And I'm sure, and a hard decision, especially as active as you are in the community now. I'm sure that wasn't an easy one, but compared with, when you put that with what you said also with okay, and also don't overextend yourself when you're in service, you have to decide what is the most important thing for you and your family at that time. And that it's okay for that to supersede your career at a certain point. It doesn't take away from your intelligence. It doesn't take away from your sense of leadership because you were leading your family. So I think that's really a cool thing for you to say. What would you say to how did you kind of come to that decision? Because I really do think that it goes also with your veterans advocacy. That's the only reason I'm kind of leaning into that, because it's a community service is to start with your family first, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. Well, the reason I made the decision was because I felt responsible. Because the person actually who we had caring for our kids was my mom. And so I felt like, well, it's my mom and, it's my responsibility. But, Michelle, it took me years to realize something. And this was that as a woman, we taught that it's our job to be the primary caregivers.
Please,
and so
yes.
I think that
in every direction, huh?
Yeah, I think that's what, like an intuitive type of, part of the decision-making process. Because then I learned that from Army data that from 2006 to 2016, over 10,000 enlisted service members were discharged for parenthood-related issues, and a large majority were women. And
wow, can you restate that? You said since when? Or for what time frame?
Fiscal year 06 to fiscal year 16, I believe it was. And here's the thing, the data from that is from a committee that Secretary Hegseth has disbanded. So if I wanted to go back and find that information, I'd have to dig it up for you. So what I'm telling you is a lot from my memory, because I remember spitting it out. But over 10,000 Army enlisted service members were discharged for parenthood-related discharge, and a large majority of them were women.
Wow. For parent-related, you're talking about their parents, not them being parents, or wait, or do you mean them being parents? Okay, so and discharge, and please excuse my ignorance because I'm not familiar in the military spaces, and so hopefully this will help clarify too. And discharge is not their own by their own will, or is it by their own will?
It can be both.
Okay.
It can be both. So it really just depends.
Okay. But still, it's because they needed to take care of they needed to care for their child, not just because they were finished serving particularly.
Yes, and as I said, a large percentage of them were women. And then over time, I've gotten really into women's issues, and then I just see over and over caregiving, 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 and this push to have us be in that position, and all of this unpaid labor we have. So I think that it was what
Mm.
was ingrained into me, by society and culture. And I'm like, okay, that's probably why I decided, even though my husband had offered, no, 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 I'll get up, you know. So I think
Oh,
it's that.
interesting. Okay,
Hmm.
okay. And you're
Hmm.
thinking, probably in the back of your mind, even if it wasn't conscious back then, you're thinking, what's it going to look like if he gets out and I stay in? Do you think you had
I
any of that,
guess
maybe, or
so.
maybe,
Like
but you weren't, but
I
it wasn't even
don't know.
conscious,
I think I just, like, I would have felt terrible if he left. But for
right?
him, it was like, yeah, I'll get out. It's not, no, 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 So,
Because you were in leadership roles already at that time, and you were
yeah, and he
already.
is too. Hmm.
Oh, okay, so you both
Yeah.
were okay, and but were you headed towards? Do you feel like if you would have continued on that track, was there somewhere that Because I feel kind of stupid asking these questions,
No, don't worry.
but I'm happy to be learning. So thank you so much for
Yeah.
sharing, because I think obviously this happens to a lot of women even outside
Hmm.
of the even I'm thinking in the medical field, which is most of what we focus on here, but our conversation is because you are very much an advocate for women's health within veterans, and so I'm just thinking, that these are probably conversations that a lot of women that are, even active military, or maybe they might be having, or they're thinking.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking, what was your process on that? You spoke with your family and then you decided, but do you think that if your husband had left and then you continued on, is there somewhere different you would obviously be somewhere different in your career? Was there somewhere you had
Hmm.
had your sights set on before you made that decision? I guess that's the long way of the question I was getting,
Oh
I was
yeah,
getting to.
yeah. If I remember right, I think it was just achieving a certain rank. That's
Okay.
pretty much what it was. And
Okay.
by the time I would have, and retire from
Okay.
years, which I would have done 2 years ago. But it just
Okay.
it didn't work
Just one
out, and
different.
it's something I still struggle with, but I'm at peace with it. Hmm.
Because I mean, I don't want to say because, but I want to say that you definitely are still a leader. You're a leader in our community. You're a leader in, I know you're a leader in the veteran spaces, and really amplifying the message of women's health and advocacy in, with for veterans. So can you tell people, if there's a veteran that's watching right now, I think another great place to start is because there are a lot of things, or maybe several specific focuses that you might want to touch on today, or if you even just want to talk about everything, let the local veteran know, or the veteran that's watching this know what areas that you are particularly passionate about right now in support of them.
Yeah, my main focus is anything affecting the women who served.
Okay.
Um, I mean, it can be from, like you mentioned earlier, menopause. It could be just identifying as a veteran, coping with transition, mental health, networking. Just it's just such a broad category, but anything that affects the women who served.
Yes, and when you were talking about your story, and you were saying that you kind of when you moved back here, and then you started really working in the veteran space, you said maybe 5 years later once you
Hmm.
left, and you said you started with the Eagles. What exactly is the Eagles?
So actually, it's Team Red, White, and Blue, or
Oh,
you
Team Red,
might
Red, and Blue.
see,
Okay.
yeah, no problem. Or you might see it as Team RWB for the
Okay.
acronym. But if you volunteer with them to be an Eagle leader,
Oh, there
that's
we go.
what it is. That's where you got the Eagle from. So I
Oh, okay.
volunteered in a couple positions. So I help out a little with communications and veteran engagement, but
Okay.
it's difficult with work. But I do what I can. where I can.
And so, and I know that today, you have a lot that you're sharing in leadership, and you're really leading by example with your the contest that you're in. And I did want to talk about that and why you decided, or what came to pass that made you decide, you know what, I want to take care of my personal health, and then not only do that, but kind of bring, inspire other women to do the same. Can you talk about what made you decide to step into the fitness competition and the journey there?
Yeah. So over the time in the military, and this is my experience, I don't feel like they really teach you nutrition or how to properly execute physical fitness. It's more
That's
focused
interesting,
on, yeah,
because we
let's
would think,
see.
I'm thinking, okay, I see a woman that's in the military, like I just
Yeah.
expect you to naturally just be jacked and ready to go,
Yeah, I mean
jacked
there
and
might
fit and ready to
be.
go.
Yeah, but it's like, let's how much can we use this term smoke them? So basically till you're at failure. And it's not like a structure. It was a structured program, but nobody follows it, or they
Now,
barely
what is it?
follow
Smoke
it.
them?
Yeah, have you do push-ups until you just can't anymore,
Oh,
or
that's what
have
they
you
call it?
do,
Smoke them?
yeah, like it can be any variety of exercises. It's basically tiring you
Okay,
out
yeah. No,
until you
Now
can't
I've
do
heard to
anymore.
failure.
Yeah, it's stuff like that, or sometimes even they would make things up. And I never really cared about physical fitness when I was in the
Yeah.
army. And then the one time that I decided, you know what, I'm going to do better, like I didn't know what I was doing, and now I have knee and back problems because I didn't know what I was doing, and I pushed
Oh.
myself, and I didn't listen to my body, and I didn't go to the doctor. And so
Mm.
don't do that.
Yeah.
So uh then you get out, and then you have physical problems.
Yeah. That.
So, and don't get me wrong, there's people in the military who really do care about their fitness, but I think what you see most often is they go to the gym, or they do other fitness activities that are more beneficial to them. And since I've been out, I mean, the Army's physical fitness program has restructured and changed.
Okay.
But I personally didn't find much benefit to it.
Okay.
um, and so then throughout as well, I've had two kids. My weight has gone up and down. And when I got out the military, I mean, I didn't have a structured program. I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm just doing this video and this video and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So about 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, I think it was, I finally got a coach, and she was a military spouse. It was an app. It's a company, so you can be a coach through the app, and it was a very low fee, and she was local.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so um, I really like, she really inspired me. She really taught me a lot about fitness, and it was like at that same time I became vegetarian. So
Oh,
she's very
yeah. Okay.
supportive. Yeah, she was very
Okay.
supportive of it, and never was like, you can't build muscle without meat and blah, blah, blah. So, very supportive of it. She inspired me. She taught me a lot. And I learned so much about form, about fitness, and I pretty much took off from there. She's not coaching anymore, but I've got this. You know what I mean? I'm good on my
Yeah.
own, and I'm not an
Yeah.
expert, but I love learning. And
Yes.
whatever I can, take free lessons here, free lessons there, I'll do it. And yeah, I just saw this competition for Muscle and Fitness, Hers magazine, and I was like, why not? And I just
Why not?
applied. Yeah, I was like, why not? And then I just applied, and then I got a text a few weeks later saying, you're in, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know how
Hey.
many women are competing. I wish I knew, but I don't.
Right. Right. They don't tell you all that.
Yeah, no, and
That's
there's
okay then.
groups. So I don't know how many groups there are, and so
Oh. Okay.
yeah, some
Okay.
point.
What segment are you in, or group?
Uh, Well,
Is there
that's the thing.
is it like that, or just like they just group people together so there's going to be more
Mhm.
than one first place? Is that what you mean by groups, or?
Well, I'm guessing they allowed, let's just say 1,000 women, just
Okay.
to
Yeah.
throwing a number out there, and
Demonstration.
let's say maybe they divided them into 10 groups,
Okay.
right? And then you're voting for the people
Oh,
to
within the
narrow it
group.
down. Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
interesting. Hmm.
So,
Well,
but
that's
I
cool. But
can't
that's cool
see the
though.
other groups or the
Right.
environment. I just see who's in my group, and that's it.
How many people do you know? At least how many are in there?
Well, right now there's 15. So
Okay, in your
we're
group.
competing right now for the top 10, and then
Okay.
it'll be top 5, and then I totally forgot all the rest.
Okay, because you're gonna get to number one, so it
Quarterfinals
doesn't
and
matter.
then
We're gonna get you
whatever.
to number one. You know
That would
what?
be
What's the
awesome.
If you can do me a favor, here, what's the email or what's the website? Do you have it?
Sure. Let me pull it up.
Because you know what? Pop it in the there's like a chat here.
Oops,
Let's
excuse
see here.
me.
Actually, you can put it in the comments. Put it in the
Oh,
comments,
great.
and it should post to all of the comments
Okay.
because I want to be able to follow you on there. And so, while you are looking that up real quick, um, you said that you know that you became a vegetarian and
Mhm.
that has it sounds like that's made a really big impact in your diet and in your healthcare journey. When did you become a vegetarian?
Uh, 3.5 years ago. 3.5 years ago, I did, and let's see. Oh, I'm not sure that I can put a comment in the chat.
It's not letting you. You know where it says
Let's
comment,
see. Oh, I see. Yes. Okay. I
and
have to join.
that should post on all of the lives on. So that's kind of the cool
Let's
thing about that too.
see. Okay. Okay. My apologies, everyone. So
No,
yeah,
that's
I
okay.
did it about 3.5 years ago, and it was something I'd always been interested in, but I was very intimidated by it. I wasn't sure where to start, how to do it, and why I didn't just look
Mm-hmm.
it up. I don't know. And then I did try. It's called flexitarian, and
I kind of like it already.
it's like
No.
yeah, it's like you don't eat as much meat, right? But I
Yeah.
had bought a recipe book and everything, and the recipes I tried were so disgusting, and I
Ew.
was like, "Ugh, no way, I can't do this." I couldn't even tell you what it was. So then, um, I started exploring Buddhism, and I was very interested in
Oh.
it. Yeah, and most Buddhists are either vegan or vegetarian because they believe in no harm to living things, and that includes indirect harm, right? So even though they may
Oh,
not be
I
killing the
love
animal
the. Okay, this now we're
themselves,
talking.
yeah. So even though they're not killing the animal themselves, that the animal had to suffer and die for you to eat it, right? And so I was like, okay. So I just went, pun intended, cold turkey, and I don't practice anything anymore, but I stuck with it. I really enjoyed it. Now, my first year, what I failed at was not understanding how to because just because you don't eat meat doesn't inherently make you healthy. I could sit here
Yeah,
and
that
eat a
part.
bag of
Because you could drink
chips.
beer all day and there's no meat
Right.
in there.
Yeah. I could eat a bag of chips. I could have all the cake I want, call myself a vegetarian, but I'll be unhealthy, right? And I actually did not lose any weight at all. So then I started learning about how to properly eat and nourish my body as a vegetarian. Um, and that helped a lot. So, and I still do
Okay.
it. Yeah,
Now, are you, so I've noticed that you're saying vegetarian but not vegan. Is there a
right.
difference?
Yeah, so vegans don't consume any animal products, like not even honey,
Okay.
milk, dairy, any other dairy products, and it's more of a what's the word I'm looking for? a like a values based, morals based lifestyle. So like they won't even wear products made from animals, or like
Right.
it's crazy the amount of animal products that are in our everyday lives.
It really is.
So
I mean,
yeah,
people have no idea.
yeah.
I actually like to not think about some of them. You know, I know,
I
and
know,
but
yeah.
it's not right, and that's why I love that you're saying like the boot. You know, your study of Buddhism really kind of opened your eyes to
Hmm.
being more intentional. To me,
Yeah.
that means a lot because I did some study of Buddhism in last semester. I did like world religion, and it opens your eyes when you see how different people live, you know, and how different spiritual practices work.
Hmm.
And it sounds like that was something that crossed your path when you needed it, and then you took effect, but you kind of went like all the way, just you kind of like went all the way in the opposite direction, but not the middle path, I guess is like what Buddha would say, you know, to where you're balanced. You're like, okay, I'm not eating any animals, but I'm also not taking care of myself, so I've kind of still went too far over there. You know, everything is kind of like a balance in
Yeah.
life. And so you found the way where you're now taking that nutrition, you're nourishing your body, and you really feel like just based on the things that I've learned about you while you know doing the research is that the nutrition, you know, taking care of yourself and being intentional about nutrition and about fitness is really a fantastic and an almost necessary leadership skill. Is that something that you feel strongly about?
Um, you're asking if I feel strongly about nutrition?
Being a
Yeah.
leadership skill, taking care of
Oh,
yourself.
yeah, absolutely. I think it's something we don't think about all the time. People just to eat, and I think when you really understand, and also appreciating where your food comes from, because that's like amazing when you learn. I'm such a nerd. Like the
No,
history
I
of
love this too. No,
certain
I'm big
foods,
on this. Go down the
you're
rabbit
like,
hole. That's what we're here for.
what? How did this happen? How did we come to start eating pineapples? Well, guess what? You know, blah blah blah. And so, anyways, yeah, absolutely self care, because I think you start feeling better. You start becoming. It's also discipline. It's a lot of discipline, at least for me on my
Discipline that
end.
part,
Yeah,
sister. Woo!
yeah. So I mean, for now for me, it's like second nature. But look, I still go in the pantry and I'll still chow down on some chips, and I'll go in
Mm-hmm.
my secret chocolate stash and I'll get my chocolates. But you know,
Shh.
overall,
No.
most of the time, I know most of the time I eat pretty good, and if I want a piece of cake, I'll get a piece of cake. You
Right.
know, it's
Right.
I've learned how to do it in moderation.
I feel like that's. I mean, you know, I feel like that's where a lot of people and a lot of women, especially, like we get to really lean into understanding that it's not an all or nothing, but that taking care of ourselves is actually going to support everyone in our lives. It's going to help our
Hmm.
families. You know, we put ourselves. That's even me. And I don't have kids or I'm not married, but I feel like I had a bunch of like deep generational trauma that I had to work through. But I realized that
Yeah.
it had to start with me, and by
Hmm.
focusing on myself and my mental health, spiritual health, you know, we've even touched on that, physical health, that all of those things, when I really step back, I can really say this has positively influenced all of my family around me. And then now I can go out, I can be authentic in the community. I feel like, you know, and I wonder if, you
Hmm.
know, I'm just kind of speaking into my own experience, but I wonder if you feel me on this, because it's like I feel like because I've taken care of myself, and because as a result of doing that, I've been able to be more present with my nuclear family, which I don't have kids or a husband, but I have my mom, my sister, my niece, and because I've been able to be more present with them, and because I've been more present with myself, I've been able to be positively influential with my,
Yeah.
nuclear family. And then, so now when I go out into the world and I, like you said, I'm in a lot of different leaders. I'm in different leadership roles. I'm building a business. And I'm like, I feel like I can be more authentic because first of all, I'm going to be more honest with who I am and what I'm bringing to the world. And then second of all, I feel like I can, because I've seen what consistency does for you, like you were saying, in discipline, rather than trying to do a quick fix, I can stand more in a leadership position with how I'm coaching somebody, because I know that, hey, yeah, you probably heard that doing it this way or that way might get some results faster, but fast results isn't sometimes the outcome you're necessarily looking for. You're looking for a stable outcome. And so for you being such a woman's advocate, and you hold a lot of different leadership roles as well, do you believe that, or how do you feel, how would you guide a woman veteran? Maybe you can let us know, first of all, like who would want to talk to you, or who are you supporting now in particular? Because I think that that will be helpful to the audience to know, like why would someone need to talk to Melissa, or what would be something you can help them with, and then maybe take us through like how you support the people.
Yeah, so I think it's a lot of, in my case, a lot of connecting with other resources. People
Okay.
have questions, veterans will have questions, like, or they have a problem with the VA or another organization, so they'll ask, where can I find this information, or how do I learn more about this? Hey, I'm having food insecurity problems. Where can I go for food pantry? So for me, in my case, it's a lot of connecting to resources, and
Okay.
if I don't know the answer, most likely I know someone who might.
Okay, great. Okay, so you're a kind of I like to call it like a front line representative in that way,
Kind
to
of,
where
yeah.
kind of like, is that kind of, I wonder if, is that a military term? I don't know where I got that. Front line rep. It sounds like it, a front line rep.
Yeah.
But somebody, you're someone who, any veteran woman, any woman who's a veteran who is so they're no longer active, and they have questions. They just have general questions. You would be the person directly they would call, or would they need to call or email a different entity at all?
No, there's other organizations. We have like Combined Arms around. They provide a lot of informational resources, and a veteran can also like create a profile on their website and say, there's different categories, and choose the category that applies to them, that they're in need of, and
Okay.
organizations will reach out to them. You've got the city of El Paso, you've got the county veteran service office. There's really, I mean, at least here in El Paso, I think everybody works together very well. I think
See,
so.
that's good.
Yeah, because if like most people, like if they have a veteran and it's a woman and she's in need of other resources, they'll link her up with me, or if they don't know something, they'll reach out to me, or and vice
Okay.
versa.
I'm glad you said that, because there are a lot of resources here for veterans, and I should say, and I've been to a lot of veteran meetings, meetings meetings for veterans, and there seems to be a lot of people that do want to meet veterans. And I really just thought about this, honestly, because as we're talking and you're letting me know this, and this is something that maybe we're not going to solve here, or maybe you have a solution that some of these other people that don't have, because I run into a lot of people who, there was a meeting over at I can't remember the name of it, but it was like basically a big veterans meeting with a lot of different agencies and entities that want to be of service to veterans, including the city of El Paso was there.
Is it coffee with the vet, the VFW?
I did go to a coffee with veterans. I wonder, maybe is it one that jumps around, or is the one you're talking about at a specific lodge?
It jumps around, and then there's one that's the veterans at breakfast.
Oh, you're right. It's both of those.
Okay.
Both of those. I've been to both. Thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, I've been to both of those. The coffee with veterans, I was at one of those. This is when I worked in the home health care space, and it seemed like everybody there, the big thing was, we're all here, but everybody that comes here is all agencies to help the veterans, but it's never the actual veterans.
Yeah.
How do we actually get
Yeah.
How do we actually get the veterans here? I went to a veterans event in Las Cruces on behalf of the home health care agency I was working with at that time, and there were booths all around, and very few veterans actually came. That seems to be a challenge.
Yeah, it's across the country, honestly. In particular with Coffee with Veterans, it's something I've been internally complaining about. I haven't told anybody really, but because I'm like, and it seems to be like these events become opportunities for some companies to come and sell their product or to sell their service. And I kind of understand it, because I've even, like, I'm putting together outreach events, and that's what I seem to be getting is people who want to do that kind of stuff. But it's a hard thing to solve, because
it is
with virtual events. You don't get a lot of people to come on, and we also throw out different dates and times and weekend events, and people just don't come. So they
get overwhelmed maybe too, because there's so many different events.
Yeah.
There's a big event this weekend, right, this Friday I saw on Eventbrite.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's the generation. I don't know if it's transportation, or is the word not getting out. I've been on the local news a few times to share events. I know the county has. I know other organizations have too.
Yeah.
So I really don't know. And when there's an event, I try to throw it on every virtual calendar I can, and I try to share it where I can. But
you're so great at that. I want to. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to say thank you. I have learned so much from you, just being connected to you on social media, and how much that you share and you advocate, and you don't just, you don't just share like events, but you share, how to get involved on a state level, like we talked about with the one conversation we talked about with that, is going on with service women and women in general, and how we could make our voice heard at the state level. And I really just want to thank you for that, because that is so important, and it is informative, and you are someone that I would feel comfortable sending somebody to, knowing that you would just have their best interest in heart, and you're not like just trying to sell them something. And maybe that's, so I just want to say that, and I didn't mean to, my ADD kicked in, and I didn't mean to cut you off. So please, but you were saying that you have been aware of that, and that it's an issue that you're seeing too.
Yeah, I think I've heard it from the DAVs, the BFWs, the American Legion, all sorts of, even Team Red, White, and Blue. It's people are just not getting out there, and I am concerned, because I think veteran connection, or even just connection with other people, is very, very important after service. And it's like people don't get into that until, not that it's too late, but until later on.
They're at their wits' end or something,
I should have came in sooner. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to rant about this, because I talk
Please
about
do, yes.
that come to these events to sell a service. I'm very sick of the candidates running for office who show up suddenly at veteran events and pitch in their campaign when I have never seen them at other veteran events or take, what veteran issue are you trying to discuss or take care of? And they don't know. They don't know. And some of them
They don't even have an answer.
have never responded. Yeah, no, but I appreciate the ones who have called me and wanted to discuss it. And that I appreciate that. But
because at least you're listening,
yeah.
and even if you were ignorant before, at least you're making an attempt to correct it,
Right.
and
Right.
not just ignoring.
Yeah, and it really bothers me, and I don't like it. And sometimes it comes to a point where I'll just avoid some of these events because I don't want to hear it. I don't want to be around it.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, so if you're a candidate running for office, please don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I'm
Ethics to
so
learn.
glad that you said this, because I think you did hit on something. Like I believe that in general, as a whole, we're all sick of grifters in general at this point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And and I'm personally so sick of grifters, or very transactional minded people, that and this is kind of the issue, is that I don't want to come off as transactional. I would rather avoid being transactional, and I don't want to be transactional, and I really can't be at this point. I can't stand it. And I think that I believe so. Some of the thoughts that I had, Melissa, were, and this is kind of crazy, but I think like this because my mom's a veteran, okay? And my mom's a veteran, yet, and this is the wild thought that I had. I thought, if you really want to get to veterans, and this is really any demographic. I mean, if we're just talking about like business, like marketing on a global scale, across sectors, if you really care about making an impact, you're almost gonna have to have foot soldiers, no pun intended, but you're gonna have to have, foot soldiers that are going door to door to actually talk to people, or are gonna be at the supermarket that's gonna say, hey, I'm here to support veterans, and you just have a big thing. Like we're gonna have to get, because I think that people have leaned on social media so much that, or digital, that we're thinking that just by posting an event, people are gonna see it. But no, people are scared to go to events because they don't want to end up at something they're being sold, that they're being sold to something for, and it's actually not gonna help them. And it's not that there aren't services that they need, but they don't trust people. I mean, I believe, at least, I can speak for myself. I have been grotesquely taken advantage of by some of, by service providers at events. And and this is I'm not a veteran, just to make that clear to anybody that's watching. So I'm not talking about at veteran events, but at other events where you're going to get information, and then next thing you know, there's some hard sales pitches happening, and that is off-putting, and that does ruin people's trust for coming to in-person events, for coming to online events. Like, people are like, I'm going to go, and then I'm going to have to hear how great this product is, and that I need to buy it, or people don't want to hear that. But so I think that for veteran services, and I have proposed this before, and and I was actually working with a group of fellas, and I do want to get back together with them, but I ended up parting ways with my place of employment at the time here back in July. So I've just been resetting everything. But what I was talking to them about, Melissa, was I was saying, if we really want to help veterans, we're going to have to go door to door, because what I was getting at is that, my mother is a veteran, and nobody ever has come to her house to and to invite her to, hey, let me, we just want to make sure that that there's resources for you. And she just lives in in a neighborhood in El Paso. So it's not like there's any big sign on her door that's like, I was a veteran, or I'm a veteran and I was a military.
Right.
but these, so my point in saying all that is that there has to be a very intentional action to get two people face to face and say, hey, we just want you to know, we just want to make sure you are aware that there are resources. We don't know what you need. You may not need anything, but you might. And because we have these resources here, I would much rather at least knock on the door, say hello, and let you know, or stop you at Albertsons. I would rather at least stop you at Albertsons and say, hey, we have all these resources available for El Paso veterans. Have you checked to see if you are eligible? And if not, at least we can help you start that process. Does that make sense? That was kind of long-winded.
Yeah. Well, that's a strategy, but as an introvert, don't knock on my door. I'm not going to answer.
That's true. A lot of people won't. But a lot of
on my door.
Well, you're okay. Well, so we won't knock on, because the people but there might be somebody that needs something. So I'm thinking door to door, but that's just that's guerrilla style for me. That's
You're
the way
funny.
I like to look at it.
Sorry for the close-ups.
No, that's okay. But maybe you're saying, maybe at the Walmart or something, they during the holidays they have, the Salvation Army taking. Maybe you can go to the Walmart and have a booth that just say, veteran support, El Paso veteran support, and imagine how many people will probably stop at your table.
Yeah. So I've collaborated with several organizations where we've been doing outreach, especially in the rural parts.
Okay.
And we feel, and we're hopeful that as we continue doing that on a somewhat regular basis, it will establish some trust, because you do have a lot of people who don't trust the system, or they've had a bad experience, or like I said earlier, some women just don't identify as veterans, so they're less likely to go and seek assistance, or they don't feel like they qualify for anything. And then also I would say, if your employer or organization allows you to actually get involved in good faith with the veteran organizations. I'm a member of the VFW. I'm a member of the DAV. I don't go to their meetings all the time, but I'm a member of Socorro Veterans. I'm a member of the United American Veteran Organizations. Actually, I have to pay my membership. But I'm pretty
almost guys.
So, and I try to go to these meetings, without overwhelming myself.
That's right.
These places are very far for me.
Yeah.
But actually going and listening, sharing the information, spreading the wealth. But I think what happens too is some of these other organizations, they get the information and they're not sharing it.
That part, because that was a big conversation at that meeting I went to Melissa. They were saying, how do we follow up? If someone calls me and I can't help them, then it's I don't know, should there be and they were it was a great conversation, but I'm not sure that they followed up on that conversation, to be honest, but they could have, because the timing was, like I said, it changed for me, my involvement, because my life changed when I left that position, but they were saying, okay, if someone calls what they were trying to establish, and I thought it was a great faith conversation, to be honest. I mean, they were saying, if someone calls me, let's say I'm in home health care, and someone calls me and they want to see, we need a caregiver for I need a caregiver for my husband. He's a veteran, and he's just had some procedures, and whatever the case may be. And they call my home health care agency, and let's say the husband is the spouse of the military person, so they are on West, not TRICARE, or vice versa. You probably might know better than I, right off the top of your head. But I know that there's one and the other. One's for the family, and then one's for the actual veteran. And let's say I don't take the one for the family, or I don't take that insurance. There should be a way to where if I don't take them, I'm just not we don't offer that. But what if I was connected to another home health care
Mm-hmm.
agency that did offer that? And then I could refer, I say, you know what, I don't offer that, but I do have this agency. And then, or
Right.
what if I went to do home health care for a veteran and they, maybe they needed more food, they didn't have enough food or some
Mm-hmm.
sort of resource that I don't necessarily directly provide, but how do we make sure that we refer these people to credible agencies? And that was the
Yeah.
conversation. Have you ever heard of conversations happening like that, or is that something that you kind of have a little system like that?
Yes, more so I think with sharing events, that would be beneficial to veterans and their
Oh, okay.
families. Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of disconnect comes from is like I know I mass email certain people on things. Are they sharing it with their networks? I don't know,
Oh, okay.
some I see the same organizations sharing things, sharing each other's stuff, but I don't know about everyone else. I don't know, are they
Mm.
allowed to? Are they not allowed to? I really don't know. So I think that's a bit of, I mean, I think it's a host of things about why veterans aren't coming to these events.
Ooh, okay. See, that's interesting. Okay. And so, like, what? So, bringing it back to the resources that you provide for people who get in touch with you.
Hmm.
Can you can you recap what those resources are?
Oh, so much. I mean, it's probably anything a veteran could think of if they need,
Okay.
like the popular one is assistance with their VA disability claim.
Okay.
A lot of them need legal assistance.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of them are looking for, amongst women veterans especially, the top request is other women veteran groups. They want to know if there's other peer groups or
Okay.
social groups. Um, what else? Man, all kinds of stuff. Education, employment is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Okay.
there's so many resources.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Is there
every
a
veteran has
specific?
their
Oh yeah.
own
Go ahead.
situation. No, go ahead.
No, no, no. You go. You go right ahead. I love what you were
Yeah,
saying there.
I was just saying that each veteran has like their own unique situation or need, and
Absolutely.
it's not often that I run into something that it's like, there's actually nothing out there for that. But
Mm.
maybe this organization might be able to help, or they might know. But yeah.
Right. So it really just depends on the person's situation. And is
Hmm.
there an umbrella that you offer making these connections through?
Yeah, so Texas Veterans Commission has a lot of services.
Okay.
So primarily it's their services, and if there's something that they don't provide, then I'll look into the resources or other organizations that might provide that assistance. So one I mentioned was legal assistance. Texas Veterans
Okay.
Commission doesn't provide legal assistance, but
Okay.
um, nearby you have Texas Rio Legal, Texas Rio. Texas Rio Grande Legal,
Oh
and they
yeah,
have a
that's a
veterans
tongue.
program. Yeah, and if you're eligible, they might be able to help you, and they encourage you to still reach out, even if you're not eligible, because they might know of a resource or organization. So that's just an example of a referral type process.
Is the best way for people to get in touch with you to support them in the resources is to come through the Texas Veterans Commission and like get register with you through that, or is that kind of how your services function?
Well, they can go to the Texas Veterans Commission's website, and
Okay.
each department has their own web page, and you'll
Okay.
see there like the phone number and email for them. So you can contact them directly, or you can send a general inquiry, or you can go to like the Women Veterans program, who
Okay.
will not turn anyone away, even if you're not a woman. And you
Okay.
can request to, yeah, you can request to be connected with a women veterans coordinator. Just put in your information, and then they'll reach out. But also
So
put
you
in what county you're in.
Okay, put in what county you're in so that it goes to the right representative. And then
Yes.
is that how the call gets like filtered to you?
Hmm.
Or so does it have, I guess what I'm getting at, does it have to go through that process, or could somebody be seeing you today and go, you know what, I just love everything that Melissa stands for and she makes me feel comfortable. I feel like, you know what, I feel like maybe I've been scared to call and see because I've been treated bad poorly, or I had a bad experience when I called some other agency, so now I just see it as a blanket, because I can imagine that a lot of veterans too, kind of like me, a little bit, just assume the more I get into the space, I really, from the outside looking in, I'm thinking, well, the VA and the veterans is all just the big VA, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's not like that. It sounds like
Yeah.
there's so many different unique agencies
There are.
that
Yeah.
represent veterans. So just
Hmm.
because you talk to one agency that still was representing veterans in a very, federal way or whatever, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the whole, it's just the
Hmm.
veterans affairs all together.
Right. Yes.
Is that true after
Absolutely.
all?
Yeah. I mean, you have state, like there's certain state benefits you get that are not federal benefits, and vice versa. And then every state is
Oh.
different. And then, other organizations may care whether you have an honorable discharge, and some may not. So everything is very different. So navigating the system can be very intimidating, very daunting. So it just really, really depends on what it is that the person is looking for. But I personally, I'm on like all of social media. It's very easy to find me, probably to my detriment one day. Um, but it is, I guess it is what it is.
Do we want to go with
So vote for
do we
me
want to go with
first.
you want to go with LinkedIn? Yeah, there you go. There you
Sure,
go. Vote.
LinkedIn.
Okay,
Yeah.
I put LinkedIn across the bottom.
Oh,
So,
perfect. Oh, great.
I put LinkedIn across the bottom because that way you can follow Melissa on LinkedIn. That's a very professional, that's the professional connection point, and that way you can send Melissa a DM. A private message there on LinkedIn. If you, want to, if you are wanting to get more information or get some guidance, because I do believe that I believe a big reason that we don't see more veterans taking advantage of the resources, like as far as like what I've seen the conversation has been. I
Hmm.
believe that many have either had a bad experience or just assume they're going to have a bad experience, or and just assume again that everything is the same. So if they got told, if somebody told them, we don't care, we don't have anything for you over here, they just assume that that's just a blanket statement. And so I really want to get the message out, because obviously I'm biased because my mom is a veteran, but um,
Hmm.
but and my dad was a veteran too, and I've seen it in my own family that it took them a long time to really get on board with the services that they
Hmm.
need. And so
Yeah.
and you know what, I think that's a good last kind of point to drive home, Melissa, maybe, is that how soon, when somebody is no longer with the military, how soon should they
Mhm.
be reaching out to get support as a veteran?
Well, I think it depends what support they need, but I mean, as soon as possible, I would highly recommend joining. And it doesn't have to be a veterans group. Join a social club or something that's of interest to you, or just come out to the veteran events and meet others, because it's very important for your mental health as well. Because I don't think they realize when they're going through the transition out of the military, that they may struggle with what to do with themselves, and that can
Oh.
affect them mentally. Now, not everyone, like I said, I had a hard time mentally. My husband retired a few years ago. He's just fine.
Yeah.
He's cool. He's got it down. So everyone's different, but
Yeah.
yeah, I would say that would probably be one of the best things you could do for yourself and your mental health, is to connect with others.
And just to I love that. And just to piggyback and just to kind of circle back around everything we would talk about is when it comes to especially women veterans, I
Hmm.
I can't, like I said, I can't speak for everybody because obviously I was not in the military, but I know that a lot of the women that I've known that have been in the military have said that that they struggled because of
Hmm.
their experience with the military and their mental health, and that they did not address it until later, and that they wish they would have.
Hmm.
So that's something. Is that something that people can a process people could start in active duty? Is dealing with their mental health, or is it kind of, are the services very different?
Well, I've been trying to get the word out slowly, that, hey, because I've hosted virtual events with El Paso Behavioral Health, who's with one of their doctors who is a veteran as well, and she talked about coping with transition because,
Okay.
and I've had women on there who they're like, I got out 20 years ago and I still struggle. I still don't know who I am after the military.
Wow.
And yeah, and they want those candid, frank conversations. So, at least here in El Paso, there are several behavioral health centers that do have military specific programs and women specific programs. Even
Okay.
even the VA, I think the El Paso VA has treated me excellently, at least.
Okay.
And they're starting up several women veterans groups. One that deals with menopause. They have one for military sexual trauma.
Oh
They
wow.
started one that's like a very informal meetup, and I just went this past Friday, and it was awesome. And I'm gonna
Okay.
go again. Yeah, so I think
Okay.
they're really trying to reach out to the women because at least in El Paso County, we only have about 5,000 women veterans, and I'm seeing the same ones all the time at events.
Yeah.
So a lot of them they do self isolate. I met one who self isolated for a while, and it wasn't until she saw my post she started coming out, and I've seen her
Okay.
at 3 events. So that's
Great.
great,
Great.
right? Yeah. So
Yes.
reach out to whoever you can. Don't be afraid.
I love that. Thank you so much. This was such a great, informative conversation.
I could keep
You
going.
really, hey, you know what? You know what I was going to say too? I was going to say, you know what? First of all, we need to have this conversation again. I would love to, I would love to connect with you in person because this is the first time we're meeting
Oh
virtually.
yeah,
But
yeah.
so I'm gonna look forward to finding an event to connect with you at. But I would love to connect with you in person as well. Just to help because, like I said, I do have a personal passion for women veterans, and the more that you're speaking, the more I can understand. I could understand that why I can understand why someone would want to self isolate, but I also,
Hmm.
I have a big respect for veterans and for people like you who did serve our country and serve for my freedom, so I could sit here and talk on the internet all day. But we take that lightly, but that means a
Hmm.
lot. It means a
Hmm.
lot, the service that you provide and that you've done, and no matter what capacity that you serve in, that is a heavy weight because that's a serious position, no
Yeah.
matter how you slice it. And so if there are benefits that can support people, and even like you said, I think even more importantly, just realizing that, hey, get into community, because you're probably used to, in the military, used to having set places to go and people to be around, and then when
Hmm.
you leave the
Yeah.
military, it's like all of a sudden you have to choose what you're supposed to do. So I think, I love that you're saying that connecting in is so important. And so,
Yeah.
in closing, I would love for you to whatever it is that you want to say to the veterans, and anything that you want to talk about or say, whatever, if it's a rant, if it's a focus, if it's something that you have to if it's something that you have to do, I want you to have the floor, because maybe there's a question or maybe there's a topic that I didn't address that you want, that is something that you want to make sure that you talk about. So I want to just give you the floor to say
Oh,
that.
wow. I could say a lot, but I'll keep it on with women veterans. So I'll say with everyone, especially if you're an organization that targets the military and veteran community, be sure to have. Here's an example. I don't know if you can see it. Put women on your marketing materials. Women
Oh,
veterans,
okay.
women service members, because we are often forgotten. We're not always thought of as the veteran. A veteran is typically thought of as a man, and
That's awesome.
if you have the representation, you're going to attract them. When people feel like they're being represented, they feel more welcome. They feel like they belong. So please do that in your marketing. I mean, I see it everywhere. I constantly am seeing men being represented when they're talking about service members and veterans. I got it. I know that they are the vast majority of the population, but women veterans are the fastest growing population of veterans. Women are the fastest growing population. And, I could just go on, but you still have to reach out to that representative group. And especially when women are not um, identifying as veterans, you're not going to help the situation by plastering a male on every single marketing item or on a majority of your items. So please don't forget us. Please, please, please add a diverse group of women veterans to your materials.
Fantastic. Oh my gosh. And now I feel like I'm not trying to disrespect your time.
No, you're fine.
If you have to like hard shut off, then we could,
I don't.
then we can always, okay. And I'm not trying to like keep you on forever or anything,
No,
but
you're fine.
you just said something that triggered something in me. And I'm just like, why are women not self-identifying as veterans?
So many reasons. Well, man, it's like I have to go into a whole
Oh,
history, right?
this is a whole nother conversation.
Well, let's see if I can summarize it. Okay, we've served since the American Revolution. We've never had to be drafted. We've served in capacities that are pretty unimaginable, right? And it wasn't until 1948 that we were allowed to become permanent members of the military, but it came with many restrictions.
Okay.
So, for instance, we couldn't command men, right? We were segregated. We had our own separate
Oh.
corps. I think the only one was the Marines. I don't think the Marines did that. I'm not sure. But
Okay.
we're segregated. We can't command men. We can't reach this rank. We can only make up a certain percentage of the military, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it came with a lot of restrictions to keep us, at I guess, a comfortable place, right? And then you plus
To
you have
hold us back.
society.
Let's just say it. Let's
Yeah,
just say the truth.
and then you have society that is like, you know, there's these ideas of what we should do and who we are, right? We belong home with the children. We don't need a career and blah blah blah. And so even when we were finally allowed to be permanent members, nobody was telling women veterans all the time, "Hey, did you know about your benefits?" Yada yada yada. You know, uh, and
Oh.
so that's what it's like a systemic and also cultural and societal issues that all intertwine,
I
right?
love
And
what you're saying
so
here because
yeah,
it ties directly into what you just said about the marketing
yeah.
materials. Like people,
Hmm.
people are always catering to or, yeah, trying to attract the male veteran
Hmm.
for,
Yeah.
to support, and they're seeing them everywhere. So it's not the
Hmm.
conversation and the message is not getting to women veterans as much. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah. And so even though over the decades those restrictions were slowly being lifted, and it was never without debate. It wasn't until 10 years ago that we were finally allowed to be serving in combat MOSs, but it doesn't mean we were never in positions that endanger our lives. Many women have been killed in action, missing in action, wounded in action, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm,
But we don't want
mm.
to, accept that. So, you know, um, now we're hearing, well, women don't belong in combat MOSs, and there's going to be a whole other review of where exactly we belong, right? So our service is political. It's constantly being challenged. It's constantly being questioned. So that's what keeps us in this. I don't know how can you send this message and for those who are currently serving and then expect them to come out, and the VA currently is trying to get women veterans enrolled. How do you connect that? You're making them feel like they don't belong in one
Mm.
arena, and this is even before this prior administration,
Mm-hmm,
but
mm-hmm.
And I experienced it in the military with someone didn't want to listen to me because I was a woman.
That's
And I've noticed different
crazy.
treatment because I was a woman, right? But you're not allowed to
Uh-huh.
say those things, so they don't. But I hear things all the time from other women who are currently serving and have served. And so you can change policy, but that doesn't mean it changes the attitude of those on the ground, right?
That's right.
So,
That's right.
and I think
Oh
it's
God,
it's
and
just
that yeah, that's
yeah,
prevalent throughout,
it's
like you said.
everything
Yeah.
intertwined, and so that's why you keep seeing men being uh like the movies, the shows, the books. I mean, the documentaries.
True.
Everything
True.
is men. Everything is men. And
Unless it's something that's specifically about it being a woman. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's not, it can't even
no,
just be a normal, you know what I'm
yes,
saying? Like it's like the woman
exactly.
soldier, G.I. Jane or whatever. But it's like,
Yeah,
it's not just a, a war
yeah.
story with a woman just because.
Yeah, because it's boring. It's not exciting. Women don't do that. Women don't serve in combat. I was told that in a combat zone. So, it's just very systemic, like you said, and
Oh
so
Lord.
I think that makes women feel like I'm not a veteran. I didn't deploy, or I didn't serve in combat MOS, or I didn't retire, which was my case. I wasn't sure if I could call myself a veteran because I didn't retire. They go to the VFW
Oh,
or the
wow.
American Legion. Yeah, they go to these organizations to be a member and they're told to join the auxiliary. Not seeing themselves represented in marketing materials or books or whatever. Or even just
What's the
having that
auxiliary?
experience. So that's more for like family members of veterans. Yeah.
That's even,
So
people are telling them that because
mhm.
they're just assuming, you mean?
It's
Or
happened. Yeah, either assumption or actually being told that. Like, yeah, I'm a veteran. Well, you might actually. And I know women who voluntarily joined the auxiliary because they felt more comfortable being in the auxiliary, right? So,
but they're still missing out on the full
right.
benefit, their full benefits from being a veteran. I remember that's so that funny you mentioned that because I remember this guy came to our house to do he made on the curb on the curb how like they have those decorative number like where you
Oh
do
yeah.
like your house numbers but you do decorative. And my mom asked him to do an army one, and he goes, "Oh, was your husband in the military?" She's like,
Hmm.
"No." She's like, "No, I was in the. I mean, my dad was, but she's like,
Yeah.
"No, I was in the military." Like that
Yeah,
was
exactly.
the first
That's what I tell
assumption. So,
people. Yeah, if you're gonna assume the man is the veteran, assume the woman is too. I'll tell you, I went to an event. I had a research table. This was in Amarillo, and I always get this all the time. The men come up and they go, "Where's the men's veterans program?" I'm like, "Well, you got the DAV, you got the VFW, whatever." But anyway, so there was a
yeah, it's like
couple.
you mean the whole program?
Everybody that's here. So there was a couple that came, and I ask. I always make it a point to ask the woman, "Did you serve in the military?" I don't ask, "Are you a veteran?" because of what we just talked about, right? Because they might say no, but they may be more
Oh,
inclined to answer yes to what they said no.
interesting. Wow, this
Yes.
is great
So,
information for people. I'm so glad you're speaking on
yes.
this.
So
Okay.
that too. Yes. So I asked the woman, "Did you serve?" She goes, "No, I didn't. But you are one of the only other people who bothered to ask me that. Everybody automatically assumed it was my husband. Nobody ever bothered to ask me, but you and one other person." I was like, "See, you see what we're going
Wow.
through?" And her
I
husband was
got
the
kind of
one
got
that made
chills
that
on
choice.
that. That's
Yeah, and
amazing. Wow. And
so
I
yeah,
think of women veterans that I know now and they're not connected into resources and probably
mm,
honestly should be. So I'm going to make sure I shoot them your information. Just
yeah,
be like, "Hey, you should at least follow her to, and see if something
yeah.
comes across that interests you, because yeah, just thinking about it, I do know a lot of
Yeah,
women veterans that are not connected at all into the thing,
absolutely.
and they're not connected into the things I'm connected into, and I'm not even a veteran. So that tells
Yeah.
you a lot right there.
Yeah, it's not uncommon to find. And if you look at like DAV, Disabled American Veterans and Wounded Warrior Project, they've published reports on this stuff, and it'll confirm everything that I've told you, that they're just not feeling like the VA cares or that these organizations care, etc. So, yeah, I mean,
You said what? You said what's that? Where do we look at to see that information?
So we have, so I actually had a chance to advocate with the Wounded Warrior Project.
Oh, the women. Oh, the Wounded Warrior, Women Warriors.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, it's the Wounded Warrior Project, and it was their Women Warriors summit.
Oh, okay.
And what we did was we went to Capitol Hill and advocated in front of our congressional reps and senators for specific issues. So they published a report this past year, so you can find that online. And
Okay.
also Disabled American Veterans. Their last one was 2024.
Okay.
I'm not sure if they do it every year or every other year. And also Texas Veterans Commission does as well, every other year.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Texas Veterans Commission. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Wow, that was great. Thank you so much. And oh yes, I definitely want to have another conversation at your convenience, because this is so informative and a lot of people have tuned in. So I know that people are getting a lot of value out of this. So I haven't seen. Actually, someone actually says, I don't know, this was a while ago. Oh shoot, I just saw it. So it just says, "Are you guys open to questions?" Sorry. This was on YouTube. So, so on my YouTube channel, I will send you the link that this is live streaming, and that way you can always go to that comment and just see, you can just say, sure, sorry we missed your question, because it's looking like. Yeah, so I wish you would have just asked the questions. Okay, so, but you know what? That is no, it's not your fault. I'm just saying I wish you would have just put the question in there instead of saying, are you guys open to questions? But that is actually my bad, because next time I will put on the screen to put your question in the chat. That way people will know that. So, we live, we learn, guys. We live, we learn. So, yeah, so.
If you ask.
Okay, perfect. So I'll send you the links to where you can do that. And thank you so much. This was so informative, and I am really super excited to be able to share, any events. Super excited. Okay, before we go, let's make sure that you share one last time about your fitness competition, and I'll make sure that I post it in all of the comments for the stream.
Yeah, sure. So this is a fitness competition. As I said earlier, I don't know how many women there are. I don't know how many groups. But if you go to this link, you'll go to my group. And I would very much appreciate your free vote. It's free daily voting. If you stay on top of it, you come back, you'll see sometimes that there will be 2 times the votes, double the votes. So you can do that. If you want to donate votes, that's perfectly fine. The great thing is that donations go to the Andrew McCullough Foundation, raising funds for children with cancer and their families. And also, if I win the overall competition, the grand prize is $20,000. And I would love to be able to give back even more to the community, to local, state, federal, all sorts of nonprofits that assist veterans and especially our women. So thank you so much.
Fantastic, Melissa. Thank you so much for your leadership and for sharing your expertise, your connections, your resources, and really being a voice for healthcare and support for the women veterans of the Borderland, and specifically El Paso. Does your reach at least with the Texas, obviously it's Texas, so it's the Texas side of things, but I'm sure that if people have general questions and they don't know where else to go, I'm sure you probably have some contacts in New Mexico.
I do, yeah, I do. Okay. I have nationwide contacts.
Okay, perfect. So thank you so much for your time today. And everybody, please go vote for Melissa. She cares about you. Let's lift her up and let's elevate her so that she can shine and we can show our appreciation and that she can, just continue to pay it forward. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Much love, girl. Thank you. This has been a great conversation. I look forward to connecting with you and hopefully having you on again soon.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. You take good care. And everybody else, let's just keep rising and shining. Let's elevate the voices of healthcare in the borderland. And let's be the community that can stand on its own and that we can be fortified and that we can continue to grow together and be a force for good for each other. Keep rising and shining and stay tuned to 5-Star Conversations in the Sun City. See you all later.